Hi, everybody. Okay, so I've got the doll about ready. This stuff is hard. Her chest, that's what it looks like. No, it does not look like actual ribs, but I'm comfortable with it. I'm not, like I said, I would love that if it looked 100% realistic, but I'm not locked into it to the point where I'm going to stress about some inaccuracies. I'm not an anatomically correct person. I am. But I'm not an anatomically correct artist, and I'm not going to stress about it. There's too much to deal with in life to worry about that much. So these are the colors that I have picked out. When you look at these paints, you can tell which ones are the expensive ones. Like these that are sitting up nice and tall and thick are the Liquitex tube paints, and these that are kind of drippy and runny are the little these kind of paints. This is Walmart, and this is Folk Art, which I think you can also buy at Walmart or Michael's. These are about $1. Whoops, these are about $1.50. These are 50 cents a piece at Walmart. You can use either one. I've got the gesso on her, so I'm not gonna worry about it. At this point, I want to do just a kind of a quick, dirty paint job. I'm trying to look for kind of a finish brush. This is the size brush that I'm using. Not for any other purpose other than I want some detail. I want to be able to control where my paint is going. I want the red nose to stay around the nose. So I dip into my paint. You can see I did not get a lot. And I'm going to start painting the nose. And you can make your nose any color you want. It don't matter. It really doesn't matter too much how careful you are around it, depending. I mean, you can add shadow there. If you slap over and you get some red on the skin, you can try to clean it off, obviously, but if you can't, it's no big deal. Just drop a little gray on top of it and call it a shadow. It's just your representation. I have had to defend my work many a time, and just don't let it get to you. I can take some criticism. It doesn't bother me too much to be criticized. Oh, that's not realistic. That's not what that looks like. You get used to it. At this point, I don't even care. I mean, I try to get it as realistic as I can. Like I said, I'm not a sculptor, nor a trained artist, except for the training that I've had over the last 40 plus years doing art. That's about as much training as I have. So I do what works for me. You do what works for you. And if people don't appreciate it, they don't have to look at it. As long as you're happy with the results, that is all that matters. When I make these dolls, 9 times out of 10, I am making them with an eye towards what do I think looks good. Do y'all see what just happened? I'm telling you, I'm not making this up. Only me. Do you see what happened? I'm just going to throw that in the water and get a different darn brush. Unbelievable. That's the life I lead, people. Not even kidding. Oh, wet it in the water, dab it off, dab it in the paint. Oh my gosh. Seriously. Oh, geez. Anyway, I don't even remember what I was saying. But when I paint a doll, I don't paint it for other people. I paint it for myself. If it's a commission, I'm going to do everything I can to get it right, obviously, because who wouldn't? But still, it's my vision. And there was a couple of stray hairs on that brush, and it wasn't getting where I needed it to go, so I just clipped them with the scissors, that's all. Anyway, even if it's a commission, it's still my vision for that doll. You know, like, for instance, Krampus. The picture that she gave me was of a gray stylized Krampus. I could not get my hands on gray hair to make the Krampus that color. So I got as close as I could with the structure of him, how he looks, the facial features. And then I just used brown tones instead of gray, and I made him a brown Krampus, which, if you've ever looked at Krampuses online, there are a ton of variations of Krampus. So I felt safe in that I wasn't going to screw anything up. There are some stories and legends that you just can't fudge with. Like, if somebody were to say to me, hey, could you do a Bigfoot doll? I wouldn't pull out sheaves of black hair to do a Bigfoot doll. Bigfoot is brown. Though my mother, God rest her soul, grew up in West Virginia. And her and my aunts and my uncle used to tell us stories of when they were growing up in the hills, and they happened upon what they called a three-toe. Huge, beast-looking thing. Had only 3 toes, stood well over 7 or 8 feet tall. They were teenagers too when they saw this. This isn't young kids getting freaked out and telling tales. Apparently my papa, my grandfather, had just butchered a hog not too long ago. And this thing was attracted to the scent of the offal from the hog. And my grandmother had sent the kids down to the garden to pick vegetables. And turns out that the thing was down by the vegetable patch. It scared the ever-loving crap out of my mother and my aunt and my uncle. So they're not, and he was white. The story I was getting at was that he wasn't brown, he was white. He was dirty and white. My mother said that her memory, and my aunt corroborated, well, both of my aunts actually corroborated it, that his fur was like a matted white, long hair, like straggly long hair. And he stood well over 7 feet tall, they said. My uncle also witnessed it, corroborated it, and they dropped the basket that my grandmother had given them to go get the vegetables and got the crap out of there, and got their butt beat because they didn't come back with vegetables. They didn't bring dinner back. So, yeah, my grandma was not a happy camper. So that's what happened with that. But what I'm getting at, though, is that if you're going to do a legend, a known legend, don't play with it too much. Make it scarier looking, change its pose or its posture. you know, things like that. But don't change it to the point that it's unrecognizable, you know. Kind of hang with what it's supposed to be. Now I'm doing this white base so that when it dries, the color will stand out a little more. I'm trying to get them level and even. I'm not going to stress if it's not. It's no big deal if it's not. I don't do well with making things match, so, you know, it don't work very well for me. Let's see. Gosh, you guys, I cannot see. I just really cannot see. I don't know if that's good enough or not. Close enough. What do you think? And like I said, that's just the base coat. I'm going to do one of them little heart-shaped mouths, you know? I know you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, you'll figure it out when I show it to you. You'll be like, oh yeah, yeah. You know, that kind. Right? Yeah, I gotcha. I'm going to mix up some blood color and completely smear this around, but I'm going to get a bigger brush because that would take me forever with this brush. So put that away. Let me get a better brush. I got this, just a bigger brush. Nothing special. Doesn't have to be, you know, a certain shape or anything like that. And all I'm doing is I'm mixing red and black to get a bloody color. Red by itself is way too red. So you can either mix, you know, a couple drops of blue in, or, you know, however you want to do it. Don't matter. But I mix it in with the black, and I end up with a variation. I go from black to the darkest blood color to the bright red to the blood color that I want to use now. That way I have all variations of color, because it's not just one color in there. Now I'm going to go over every part of this, including the bone parts, because I'm going to go over the bones with the bone color. And it's just easier this way. I don't have to worry about being careful. Get it all done. Make sure I have every nook and cranny painted. And then I can go back in after it's dry and pick out details and stuff like that. That's the hardest part, is making sure that when I'm looking at it from this direction, I see that there's no white clay left. And then when I look at it from another direction, I don't see clay, because 9 times out of 10, once I'm done painting it and I let it dry, I pick the doll up to do something else, I'm going to see spots where I've missed almost every single time. And I don't know why. But, I mean, I know why, because I'm not careful. But, you know, it happens. Don't be discouraged if it happens to you several times. It likely will. But you just go back in with the same color and paint over it, and you're all good. And in an area like this is going to be covered with resin when I'm done. So if I feel the need to, like this paint is very thick, I could take some water on my brush, just plain water, and put it in here so that the water kind of fills in the nooks and crannies. You know, the thinned paint will fill in the nooks and crannies a little bit so that I don't have to worry so much. I got to pick this thing up so that I can see what I'm doing, because I really can't see what I'm doing. Can you see if I hold it like this? Yeah. Except now I still can't see. But like I said, turn it from every angle. Because as soon as I turned it, I saw that I missed a whole section up underneath here. Make sure you look at it from the top down, because when I'm looking down like this, I see a spot right there. Look from the bottom up. The doll is not going to be on display like this. So anybody that sees, you know, that I've missed a spot right there by looking at it like this, kind of, in my opinion, deserves to see an unfinished spot. However, my art teacher, Miss Rolay, would tell me, you're not being decent in the dark. You know somebody's going to pick that doll up and flip it upside down and look at it. So it's your job to make sure they only see what you want them to see. And that's the other thing that I wanted to cover. I was, my heart, the heart that I sculpted, like I had said, is not nearly anatomically correct. And neither are these ribs. But people generally tend to see what you suggest that they see. So if she's holding something in her hand and it has the basic, most basic shape of a human heart, and there's a hole in her chest with what appears to be ribs, their brain is going to fill in the details. So you don't have to be, you know, Michelangelo getting crazy details on stuff. You can. If you're a good sculptor, by all means, the more the better. But if you're like me and you kind of struggle with it, don't worry too much about it. It's art. It's subjective. You know what excuse me. What I think is spot on and perfect, somebody else is going to look at and say, well, you know, you could have put grooves on this, or you could have, you know, broke that bone there instead, and that's not what ribs look like. You should have made them thinner. You should have made them look like this, that, or the other. You know, you're going to get that. That's just what's going to happen. Get used to it. It's no big deal. I don't even let it stress me. And it's going to be, I promise you, it'll be on like something that you are so proud of. You're going to be like, this is my crowning glory. This is my masterpiece. This doll is the very best. And they're going to be like, oh, that's not right. You know that's not right. Guarantee you. I have had little kids come up to me in a show and ask me about my dolls. And as I tell them that, with their parents' permission, you know, their parents are standing right there. I've had the little kids be like, well, that's not what that would have looked like. You're like, what, 8? How do you know? Get out of here, kid. I have had little kids. Parents bring their little kids to my table. And I just have to wonder. I would not have brought mine, you know, when they were that age. I would have been like, I don't think, maybe that's not for you just yet. Okay, this white paint is dry. So I am going to wet I got a teensy little detail brush. I don't know how you can see the teensy little detail brush. And I am going to do this most beautiful turquoise color for her eyes. For this eye makeup, I love this turquoise color. It's so shimmery. I love it. I purposefully picked colors that were not just the red, yellow, and blue and green, because her outfit is not just red, yellow, blue, and green. And I want her to kind of match. I mean, she's still going to have a red nose, you know. Now I'm just going over the white that I already painted. So this is not, you know, I'm not doing anything special. I'm just putting the turquoise over the white that I just painted. And then I'll show you. Are you guys watching the Super Bowl tonight? We're not. I'm not a big football fan. I never have been. As I mentioned, I live in Michigan, so, you know, we have the Lions. And if you are a football fan, you know what that means. And if you're not a football fan, the Lions have not had the most successful career in professional football. And I just not a big fan, period. Never have been. I don't think I ever will be. Not for any reason, just don't like it. Okay, that's where we're at. It's not nearly done. Oh, I just stuck my finger in the wet paint. You guys watched me do it and didn't say a word. I see how you are. See, now I just turned her over and I see a big spot that I missed on the inside of that cavity. But that's okay, because I'll get to it eventually, in my own good time. Okay. I am doing the other side now. You cannot see. You still can't see, but I think one of us should be able to see. And since I'm the one holding the paintbrush, probably best if I'm able to see what I'm doing. This is going to take 2 coats. This turquoise is really, really sheer. But it is the most beautiful color shifting paint that, I mean, I love this paint. I'll show you what the bottle looks like in a minute. This turquoise shifts from turquoise to like a blue color. And like a sapphire blue color. Gosh, it's so pretty. It really is pretty. Can't say enough good things about it. They have a whole line of color shifting paints. Black to gold, the turquoise to blue, pink to purple, I think, purple to gold, just a whole bunch. And they are stunning. They really are. They're $3 a bottle, and you only get a little bitty bottle, which is kind of crappy. But, you know, it's not that big of a deal. You do get a whole bottle for $3. So, all right, I'm doing her little bow mouth. This is nerve-wracking, I gotta tell you. Okay. I like it. Like the Queen of Hearts. Kind of. With the heart mouth. Isn't that the Queen of Hearts from Alice in Wonderland? Alright, once I get this done, it has to dry. So what I will do is I will stop here and come back in a little bit. Actually, you know what? It's so cold in here, I don't know that it's even going to dry tonight. So I'm just going to stop here and come back tomorrow because I got to clean everything up. Oof, that flays that brush out something fierce. Anyway, okay. So I'm done for tonight. because that's got to dry. I don't want to take a chance. If I paint over tacky paint, it's just going to pull that paint right back off. So here's where we're at. That's what we have. The mouth is, and its mouth's not done. I mean, obviously. The mouth is the red color. The eyes are the teal color. Oh, and that teal paint is this. It's beautiful. It is beautiful. Love it. Okay, I'll be back tomorrow with more face, and we'll probably be claying in the eyeballs tomorrow and finishing this chest area. I have to paint the heart. There's still a lot to do, so please hang with me. Tomorrow will probably be a little bit longer video than today. There's only so much you can do when your paint is wet, and I don't want to ruin her by jostling her around and moving her around. So I will see you tomorrow. Please click like and please click subscribe and join me tomorrow for the rest of this escapade that we're on, and help me think of a name. Leave a comment with a suggestion in the box below for her name, and I will start trying to think of her story, and we'll go from there. I think this is great. So thank you for joining me. I enjoyed myself, and I hope you did too. Click like, click subscribe, and come back and see me next time when we finish this spectacular face and then put those clothes back on her. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.